Okay, Hare Krishna everyone. Welcome to the Thursday Learning Bhagavatam class. Today we're going to be given a class on Canto 8, Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creation, Chapter 12, the Mohinī-mūrti, Incarnation, Bewilders, Lord Śiva. And our guest speaker is none other than Kamal Prabhuji. Welcome, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you, Dharmender Prabhuji, for asking me to do this class. Also congratulations to have reached till 8th canto. It just looks like we started just yesterday, really. And we reached 8th canto, so congratulations. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to share a slideshow, a PowerPoint presentation. Let me do that first. Firstly, are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. Okay. Right. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for attending. So today I'm going to be talking on Canto 8, Chapter 12, that is the Mohinī-mūrti, Bewilders, Lord Śiva. This is a very interesting pastime and lots of things to learn from it. So we'll make a start straight away. We'll start as usual with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lelita Shri Vishakhanvitamcha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे. Thank you, everyone. So just to make a start with the presentation. So I'm going to the outline of my presentation. I'll just tell briefly as to how I'm planning to present today. So firstly, I will give a brief chapter summary, the story part of today's chapter. And then following that, the main focus would be on the key philosophical explanations of this, of the incidents in this chapter, and also the practical application of tattva, the basic philosophy that we learn. How can we practically apply it in our sadhana, in our practice? So those will be the main highlights of today's presentation. The chapter summary, I'm sure many of you already know briefly what exactly happens. So I will not be focusing too much on it. And lastly, there'll be time for questions and discussion. One thing I would mention is because there's so many things to learn from this chapter, it's not possible to cover everything in today's presentation. So we'll focus on some important things in more detail so that it helps everybody who are listening today. Okay, so to start off with, let's start with the chapter summary. So the first one, so there are like 4 sections in this chapter, divided that in the story part into 3 sections actually, 4 sections. And the first one is the Lord Shiva's arrival and prayer. So Lord Shiva, riding his bull, went to see Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari after hearing about his pastimes as an attractive woman. So once, so he heard about the Mohinī-mūrti avatar, and then he went to see Hari. He was accompanied by his wife Uma and his servants, the Bhutaganas. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead, here Lord Vishnu, welcomed Lord Shiva and Uma with great respect. Lord Shiva then offered and acknowledged the Lord Vishnu as the all-pervading supreme controller, that's the Parameshwara. And he stated that the manifest, the unmanifest, false ego, the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the cosmos, all are done by Lord Vishnu. He also confessed that he, that is Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and also the great rishis, they are all bewildered by Lord's illusory energy. Means nobody is superior to the Lord's illusory energy. So this was his arrival and prayer and welcome by Lord Vishnu. Subsequently, okay. There was the request and the manifestation of Mohinī-mūrti. So Lord Shiva, he expressed his desire to see the beautiful woman form, that is the Mohinī-mūrti form of the Lord, that Lord Vishnu had manifested to bewilder the demon. So he wanted to see it himself. And Lord Shiva particularly mentioned that I have seen all your incarnations, and I haven't seen this incarnation, so I would like to see that. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead initially warned him that actually this particular incarnation was done especially to bewilder the demons. So it may not be the right, it may not be the correct thing to really see. But actually, Lord Shiva suggested that he's interested to see all the incarnations, and Lord Vishnu being a Bhakt Vatsal, so he and Lord Shiva being the greatest Vaishnava devotee, so Lord Vishnu agreed, and he immediately disappeared and then appeared in a nearby forest. At that time, Lord Shiva saw a very beautiful woman playing with a ball in the forest full of flowers. Her beauty was captivating, and there is very detailed description, almost graphic description in the Bhagavatam chapter, and then subsequently what happens we'll see in the next section. So this here, Lord Shiva gets bewildered by seeing the beautiful woman form or the Mohinī-mūrti form of Lord Vishnu. Now, as the woman played, as the woman played with the ball, that attracted the attention of Lord Shiva, and he immediately became captivated by lusty desires. Remember, Lord Shiva went there with his wife Uma and also his companions, but in that sudden lusty desire that arose in him, he forgot all of them. He lost his good sense, and just like in Bhagavatam, it is described like a lusty elephant, he began following her, even in the presence of Bhavani. So even although his wife was still there and next to him, he just lost his sense, and he chased after the Mohinī-mūrti. He will, just like a lusty elephant would chase a she elephant. So Lord Shiva chased the beautiful woman who was the Yogamaya incarnation of this Lord Vishnu. He caught her, embraced her, but she somehow released herself and ran away. Following her, Lord Shiva kept going around, and he actually went through all the places where his devotees were, meaning there were lots of Lord Shiva devotees. So all those places she took around, and Lord Shiva kept chasing him. But Lord Shiva was not at all, there was no hesitation. And he kept chasing him because his mind was fully filled of lusty desires to possess this beautiful lady. And then Lord Shiva finally discharges the semen, and then it's described that wherever his semen fell, that mines of gold and silver later appeared on the earth. And then coming to the next section, and then how did Lord Shiva restrain himself? Now, after discharging his semen, Lord Shiva regained his senses and realized that actually he has been victimized by the illusion created by Lord Vishnu. And he was not at all surprised, having understood the Lord's unlimited potencies. At that time, having realized this, Lord Vishnu assumed his original position and praised Lord Shiva for getting established in his position despite being harassed by the Lord's potency. At that time, Lord Vishnu declared that his material and external energy, the Maya energy, will no longer be able to bewilder Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva then circumambulated Lord Vishnu, took his permission, and returned back to his abode in Kailasha. And upon return, Lord Shiva then addressed his wife Bhavani, and then he said that he was illusioned by the Maya potency of Lord Vishnu. but he did not show a sense of shame. He actually felt happy that his Lord's power is so great that even he was bewildered by the Lord's power. So this is how the chapter concludes. Now, what we will do is we will discuss some of the key philosophical explanations from this chapter, what we can learn from this chapter, and actually this section will be more interactive, and I encourage your participation as well. So to start off with, so the first verse I selected is Lord Shiva's prayer. Now this contains very deep philosophy. So Lord Shiva, in his prayer to Lord Vishnu, when he approaches Lord Vishnu, says that, "Oh Lord, you alone are the truth. So you are the only truth in this world, and you are both the cause and the effect." So Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna are both the cause and the effect in this world. And he says, Lord Vishnu, you are both the duality and the non-duality. So you are both two and just one. The duality and non-duality. So the non-duality, the duality that we see in this world, the heat, cold, and all the other material dualities that we see, and the non-duality. You are both. And then he gives an analogy in his prayer. He says that just as gold remains the same, whether it is in its plain gold form or if it's converted to an ornament, for example, an earrings, a bangles, or anything, the gold still remains the gold. So the gold is present in, even you make hundreds of ornaments, it ultimately is just gold. And that underlying gold is Lord Vishnu. So this is the analogy he says, and this is the prayer. Now, based on this, I think I'm going to ask you, we'll try and discuss three fundamental questions that will enhance the knowledge of our philosophy and also in our bhakti sadhana. So the three questions are, number one, that we will address are, number one is, how far? Now, what is the distance between the Jivatma and Paramatma? How far is Krishna from the Jivatma? So that will be the first question. The second question would be, how much of sadhana do you think is required to bridge the gap between the Jivatma and Paramatma? So what is the gap that we have, distance, and how much sadhana do we really need to bridge that gap? And the third question that I would like to discuss is, what specific practices do we need to do that would lead us to God realization? So these are practical and very important points, and the main reason that we perform bhakti or we practice bhakti. So we will discuss that in more detail, and we'll try and keep it interactive. So let's address the first question. Now, what do you think is the distance between the Jivatma and the Paramatma, that is the Krishna? Anybody wants to answer? Because we all want to attain Paramatma. So there is so what is that distance? How much is the distance?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Lydia Matani.
The Jiva Atma is in the heart and the Paramatma is in the heart. So I don't know. There's no distance. They're very close together.
Okay, very close together. So there's no distance at all. So you say in millimeters?
I don't know if I'm right. I'm just guessing. Sorry.
No. Thank you, Mataji. No, thank you for your for the wonderful answer. But so my counter question is there distance of few millimeters, few centimeters, or is there no distance? And if there is no distance, have we already attained Krishna? So that's my question.
Well,
counter question.
It's so easy to attain Krishna. No, it's very difficult.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. No, thank you for your answer. I will take another answer. So Gayatri Mataji, please, do you want to? Yes, Gayatri Mataji, you can unmute and answer, please.
Hello, Prabhuji. Isn't it that Jivatma and Paramatma are like, isn't it like an analogy to like two birds sitting on a tree, and one is eating the fruit and the other one is observing that bird that's eating the fruit? So that would be the distance between Jivatma and Paramatma, perhaps?
So how much is that distance?
Is within you, constantly watching you.
Yeah, but is there a distance between the Jivatma and the Paramatma? If the Paramatma is watching you, how much is the distance? So my question is, how much is the distance? Because if you are trying to attain, Krishna as your aim of your bhakti practice, what is that distance?
There is no distance. It's just making sure you please the Lord who is there within you, isn't it?
Okay. No, thank you, Mataji. No, wonderful answer. Thank you. I'll take one more answer. Okay, Panchali Kar.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisance. So, Prabhuji, I may be completely wrong. Sorry, and I'll probably be, so I could be very wrong. So I'm just thinking, Prabhuji, in the Gita it says, so the Paramatma is in our heart.
Yes,
and it does talk about, where there are like two birds, one is witnessing. But I can't remember where, but in one of the Krishna Kathas, I think Prabhuji was mentioning how there is no specific mention that the Atma is also residing in the heart. The Paramatma, there is reference of the Paramatma being in the heart, but the Atma was mentioned, it was actually where our third eye is. The Atma resides over there. And the Paramatma is in the heart. That could be the distance, but I may have understood wrong, Prabhuji, so apologies if I have.
No, thank you, Mataji, for raising a very good point.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yeah, I think there was, I heard an analogy about a space between a cup and infinite space. So the boundaries are kind of artificial, but the underlying essence is the same.
So there's no distance. Is that what you're saying, Mataji?
Between a cup and an infinite space. I don't know how you measure that. It's no distance because in a way they go hand in hand.
Okay. So what you are trying to say in that sense is the same thing I asked Lydia Mataji as a counter question. Does that mean that you have already attained Paramatma? That's my question. Counter question.
Well, because it says it's part or attribute of the Paramatma, they're together.
Okay. No, thank you, Mataji. Thank you for answer. We'll take one or two more. Please? Okay, and then we'll answer. Okay. Sorry, who is?
Can I try? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, whoever is, I don't know there are lots of hands raised. Whoever is talking can talk. Yeah.
I'm asking this. Your question is distance and difference, or just distance only?
Distance.
So to my understanding, Jivatma as a Karta, Paramatma is just like observing us. So there's no distance. Just Paramatma just watching us, what we're doing at all the time. So that's my understanding.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Any different answer? Anybody has got? Otherwise,
In liberation, it says the jiva does not merge completely, but exists in unity with the Supreme Soul.
So, can I have a go, please?
Yeah, anybody who's got a different answer?
Yeah. So, Jivatma is like an individual soul. Paramatma exists in all living entities, like Krishna exists in every. But there is a great distance between a Jivatma and a Paramatma. And because we are just like minute particle, whereas Krishna is like infinite. If you can say.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. Okay. If anybody has got any different answer, they can tell.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Isn't I may be wrong, but in my understanding, it's the same but different. Steve. They are the same but different. They are one but different. Still different.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. So all wonderful answers. And
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Is the distance in time like 5 seconds as the Jivatma is chanting the holy name, like one holy name which connects with the Paramatma. So it's just like 5 seconds of chanting.
How much? Sorry, 5 seconds?
Yeah, like chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it takes like
Okay,
5
so
to
the
10
5 seconds
seconds.
that you need to chant a Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the distance that between a
Yes.
Jivatma and Paramatma. Okay, no, thank you very much, Mataji.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Is it that when the jiva, it is turns to Krishna? I don't know, I'm wrong, right? That is the only distance that, we are not, when the jiva turns towards Paramatma.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Now I'll stop taking any more answers. So otherwise we'll not be able to move forward. But thank you for all the wonderful answers and all those who were trying to participate, but we have to move ahead. So yes, means let's reveal the answer. So basically, this is the central paradox. Now, it's as somebody already mentioned, the distance between a cup and an infinite space. So this is exactly the thing. So measuring the infinite, the distance between Jivatma and Paramatma is like measuring the infinite to the to infinitesimal to the infinite. Now, in actual quantitative measurement, there is absolutely no distance. In real space-time, there's zero distance. So, but in qualitative perspective, we still don't feel that we have attained Paramatma. And the distance in qualitative perspective is, oh, he's infinitely far from us. So that's the qualitative perspective. But spatially, there is absolutely no distance in time, place. And this is, and the distance that we experience is more of awareness and identification. So that is the only problem. So really you are ever, not just now, ever, you cannot be separated from Paramatma. You are always with Paramatma. So never consider yourself alone, we are always with Paramatma, but the only problem is that we don't have that awareness for the identification. So there's no physical space or time difference. Now, the reality of proximity. Now, this Nitya Prap. So Krishna or Paramatma is always Nitya Prap. Nitya Prap means eternally attained. But there is a perceptive or a qualitative distance. So the analogy given is like air within the sky. This is the analogy used in this chapter, so I'm using the same thing. So air within the sky, the Paramatma is the inner ruler. So like air is present everywhere simultaneously. Similarly, the Paramatma is present everywhere simultaneously. Now, and also the other analogy used in this chapter is that of a gold from the golden instrument. So the gold is the same in everybody, and so qualitatively we are we are exactly the same as Paramatma. So Vastu, we are exactly the same. Now, the scriptural proof of this statement is there are several scriptural proofs. The Vedas state always that he's the primeval eternal person. Neither time can limit him. And so it's not limited by time space. So he's absolutely everywhere. There's not even one micro or the smallest measurement where he's not present. And Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.33, one of the Chatushloki Bhagavatam says, Aham evasam evagre nanyadyat asat param. So he's both the Sat and the Asat. So what we always think is the Sat and the Asat is not Krishna. This is Krishna. That is not Krishna. This is Krishna. But the absolute truth is that he is both the Sat and the Asat. Both are Krishna. And in Bhagavad Gita 18.61, it says, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Riddesha Tishtati. So yes, he resides in the heart. Now somebody mentioned that maybe the Atma is situated in the forehead and Paramatma is situated in the heart. So the Bhagavad Gita itself mentions in which chapter? 1 second. It mentions in 13th chapter. The 33rd verse, it says is that the Atma is the analogy that uses is that it is like space, just like space is present everywhere. Similarly, the Atma is all pervading in the body. So it's not in one particular place that the Atma is present, which means it is also all pervading within the field. Yeah, and that is Bhagavad Gita 18.33. And 1 second, I'll just check that and tell you. So 18.33 says that. Okay, and then 18.32 And not 18.32, the 13.32 also mentions another analogy. So there are two analogies given for the Atma. One is the Atma the analogy given is that of a sun. Just as a sun rays, it illuminates the entire space. Similarly, the Atma, although residing in one part, illuminates the entire space. So the Atma is present everywhere, and also it illuminates the entire space. It is not just present in one particular space, point. Now, the illusion of separation. Why do we get this illusion of separation, despite it being, despite the Atma and the Paramatma, and the Atma being a Nitya Prapt with the Paramatma, so almost present? Why do we feel this illusion of a separation? This is because of the veil of Maya. And now the Maya has got two broad Shaktis, means two powers. One is the veiling power. Veiling power is called the Avarnatmika Shakti, means it covers our true knowledge. And the potency of the Maya, which hides the truth, this is what makes the Jiva forget its origin, is the Avarnatmika Shakti. And the second is the Prakshepatmika Shakti, that's the projection. This potency projects a false reality. So Prakshepatmika Shakti means it projects. So it projects a false reality which captivates the mind because of the external beauty of the material world, and that's how we get captivated. So Avarnatmika Shakti, veiling power, and Prakshepatmika Shakti is the projecting power. And in this particular chapter, you saw that Lord Shiva is chased Mohinī. So it is exactly, the analogy is that Lord Shiva is considered here as to the Jiva, and Mohinī-mūrti as the Maya, and basically the Jiva is chasing Maya. So we chase Maya, creating the psychological distance from the truth. And that is why we have this perception of being distant from Krishna, though in fact you can never ever be separated from the Paramatma. And this is what happens. So Avarnatmika Shakti is like a mirror covered with dust. And so you forget your own real identity as the spirit soul, and you start identifying with the body, your mind, your ego. So you identify with that. So when somebody asks who you are, you get an body initially, but then at a finer level, you consider yourself to be the mind, your emotions, and even a finer level, you just think you are I am, the ego. And the Prakshepatmika Shakti is the external world. So the beauty of the external world, the opposite sex, those are the things which attract you, and that's why you get deluded. So these two Shakti is what is keeping you distant from the Paramatma. Now, the next question is, what exactly is Maya? Now, there are several definitions given of Maya. But so quickly, I think I'll take some answers. Actually, what is your understanding of Maya? So just quick 1 or 2 lines as to what exactly is your understanding of what exactly Maya is. Anybody?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I may be wrong, but for me, it sounds like, for me, it's another side of Krishna. It's Krishna's energy.
Yeah, so it is Krishna's energy. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay. No, that's absolutely correct. It is Krishna's energy, so external energy. Okay. So there are several ways in which Maya has been defined in the Shastra. So one of the definition it says is Mayam tu prakritim vidhi, Mayinam tu maheshwaram. So know that the nature, prakriti means nature. So the entire material nature is Maya, and the person who controls the material nature, he is the Maheshwar, he is the Lord, Supreme Lord. So it is an energy, that's perfect. And Maya is the material nature. The other more practical definition is given in Ramcharitmanas. It says the concept of I and mine. Main or more torte maya, jehi bas kiye jiva nikaya. So this is what binds the jiva to the material world, is I and mine, you and yours, the separation. If this is I, this is mine, that is you and that's yours. So this sort of separation that we make, that is what exactly is Maya. And this is what binds us to this material world. So very practical definition. So anything you consider as I, anything you can point to as I, that is Maya. Anything you can point physically is Maya. And anything that you can point, saying that this is mine, is also Maya. Anything you can point as this is you and yours is also Maya. So you can't point your own Atma. It's not in one place that you can point and say. Although theoretically we may say it is in the heart, but it's in the heart and everywhere within the body. So my question is, if we say this is Maya, then one question arises is, why do you consider Mohinī-mūrti as Maya when it is actually an incarnation of Lord Vishnu? Why do we consider it Maya in this chapter? Because it says that Maya has deluded him. Now the answer is given in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, in one of the Chatushloki Bhagavatam verses, that is chapter 2, Canto 2, chapter 9. That is Maya's definition as Ruttertam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tad vidyādatmano mayam yatha bhaso yatatamaha. So this is what the Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna initially instructs to Brahmaji, the 4 seed verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So in which one of the verses dedicated only to Maya, and this is the second seed verse that Lord Vishnu instructs to Brahma, and it says, "O Brahma, whatever appears and is unrelated to me, know that to be Maya." So anything which you say is there and is unrelated to Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu, that is Maya. So this is a very, very, very practical and useful definition. So Mohinī-mūrti is Maya to only those who forget that is Krishna. For them, it is Maya. But anybody who realizes that actually Lord Mohinī-mūrti is Krishna himself, then for them it is not Maya. That is why the Devatas were not deluded when Mohinī-mūrti came, because they knew that this is Krishna. So anything that is associated with Krishna is spiritual or not Maya, but anything you think has got no relation to Krishna or Paramatma, that for you is Maya. So that is the perfect definition. So you can't, just like Prabhupada would say, that the deities in the temple, that is not Maya. Though it is made of all the material elements, it is not Maya, because anybody who associates with the deities, they know that this is connected with Krishna. And as we just said, that anything and everything in this world is pervaded by Paramatma. So, and we associate it with Krishna. So when you see something like, for example, my phone, I don't always think that this is Krishna. So when I think that it is separate from Krishna, that for me is Maya. So that is the very, very practical definition that we should consider. So anything that you think has got no relation with Krishna, that is Maya for you. So that is the more practical definition, rather than thinking that this is Maya as a black and white thing. This is Maya, that is Krishna. So there is no two separate distinction. Anything that you consider is separate from the Lord is Maya. And in Ramcharitmanas, the Hanuman says this particular verse, "Kaha Hanumant vipati prabhu soi, jab tavas meren bhajan na hoi." So when do we get into trouble? So that we get bound into the material world. So we get into trouble only and only when, that's what Hanuman says, is only and only when your remembrance or the worship of Krishna stops. So when you dissociate from Krishna and start interacting with the material world without the remembrance, Kaha Hanumant vipati prabhu soi. So that is vipati. Vipati means that is the adversity or the problem. So the problem only arises when I forget you. So when you forget Krishna and interact with the material world, that for you is going to create a trouble. Indeed, in Srimad Bhagavatam itself, it says, Harismriti sarva vipadimokshanam. So all your problems, if you go back, think back, sit in a quiet place and think back, that always will be because there wasn't remembrance of Krishna or Supreme Lord in that particular circumstance or situation. And it says that Harismriti sarva vipadimokshanam. So all your adversities disappear once you remember Lord Krishna. Your life becomes free from all danger. And now how that is, we can discuss later. I think we'll discuss it later in the presentation. Now, so we started with the question, what was the distance? We said practically there is no distance, but psychologically there is a big distance. And now how do we bridge the gap of the psychological difference? This is by smriti. Smriti means remembrance. That is the return of the awareness, the moment of awakening. How does it happen? is when the smriti, that is you have an innate remembrance of Krishna within you. Each and everyone has got that smriti, but that is covered by the illusory power of Maya. And in Bhagavad Gita 18.73, that is what Arjuna says. After listening to the entire Bhagavad Gita, he says, Nashto moha smritir labdha. So I regained my memory. And smriti is the deep memory that we have, that we are always associated with Krishna. Nashto moha. My delusion is completely gone. I have retained my memory. My smriti labdha. Tat prasadam manchata. But how did I retain it? I regain it. I did not regain it by my own effort. It is tat prasadam. It is by your mercy that I have regained. That is what Arjuna says. So once we regain that lost memory, the divine memory, that is when you realize that you were never separated from Krishna at any second, any point, and even now. The self-realization, that is what happened with Śiva. So after he got deluded, and then after the interaction with Mohinī-mūrti, then suddenly he realized that actually this distressing situation was because I forgot Krishna and started considering her as an object of lust. And that is why he got bewildered. And once he regained that memory, he came back and recognized that it was the Lord, His glory. And so in conclusion, the distance between the soul and Krishna is exactly the thickness of the ego that we have. So it is not a physical distance. There is no physical distance. Remember that you are never, ever alone. Even if you don't believe in Krishna, Krishna is always with you. And even if you believe He's with you, He can never, ever be separated from you, not even by a small fraction distance. It is only the thickness of ego which gives the perceived separation from Krishna. Now, we have to then ask the question as to what is it which binds our soul to this Prakriti in this material world. So it is a knot which is binding us to this material world. And Tulsidas, he very nicely says, Jad Chetan Granthi Pad Gayi, Yadyapi Mrisha Chutat Katinai. So what is binding us to this material world is this knot, a knot which is formed by Jad. Jad means the insentient matter or the body, and the sentient, that is the soul. So these two have been tied together in a knot. How can a sentient conscious thing be tied to an unconscious thing? So this knot is illusory. Illusory means there is no real hard knot. You can't say, oh, this is that knot, and if I cut this with a scissor, so there is no real knot, but it is an illusory knot. But it is so difficult, despite it being illusory or false, it is so difficult to untie it. So we can't let go of our material existence. So that is the sort of illusion. And this knot, what exactly is this knot which is tying the sentient soul to the insentient material world? That knot is actually the abhiman, ego, or the false pride. So this is the one knot which is tying you to the material world. Now, the pride, ego, I am, is the root of this material existence. The world, the samsara existence is only because of this ego that we have. It's samsmruti mool sul pradhanana sakal shokadayak abhimana. So the pride is the root cause of this material existence, and it is the giver of all the sources of misery. So any misery that you have, if you trace back, you'll find it is ultimately your ego. And what exactly is what is causing your suffering. So basically, your ego is the big burden or the big stone that you tie on your back and try to cross over this ocean of material existence. So if you have a big ego, you have more suffering. You're carrying such a huge stone and trying to go across this ocean of material existence. Whereas if you have humility, that is less ego, it is almost like you're wearing a life jacket in this material ocean. So ego is the main problem. And the analogy of the two birds, yes, some of you mentioned about the two birds. So basically, the two birds are comparable. It's an analogy. Remember, it's an analogy. So it is not exact. You can't give a spiritual because our brain can't process spiritual things. So we give an analogy using the material world. So there's the Jivatma and the Paramatma, both sitting on the same bird. So the Paramatma is the silent witness, as he said. And the Jivatma is the one who is enjoying the fruit. So Jivatma is totally ignoring the Paramatma who is sitting next to him, absolutely next to him. And he's simply enjoying the fruits. And then sometimes he bites a sweet fruit, very happy, and sometimes he bites a rotten fruit, very sad, but completely ignoring the Paramatma. And the only thing that he has to do for his liberation is just to turn around to his friend who is always there, he's never left him. So the thing is, I've said that actually we should give up our ego, but the problem is without ego we can't exist. So there is that means the without ego, how can you exist? So that so it is the first thought. So basically, when you wake up from sleep in the morning, the first thought, subconscious thought that comes is I am, and then other things come. So I am Kamal, I am a boy, I am a husband, I'm a father. So that things come second, but the first thing that comes is I am. So the ego can't be given up completely. So how can you get your ego purified? So that is something called a good pride and a bad pride. So again, Tulsidas gives a wonderful explanation in Ramcharitmanas. It is the Narad Muni who says this to Lord Rama. He says, "As abhiman jai jani bore, मैं सेवक रघुपति पति मोरे." So may this pride never leave me even by mistake. So I want one pride which should never leave me. I want this pride. I want this ego that I am the servant and Lord Rama is my master. So that ego should never ever leave me. So the thing is, we can't be without ego. So we need to have an ego, and this is the ego that I need to develop, and this ego should never ever leave me. That is the prayer of Narada Muni, and is that I am the servant and Lord Rama or Lord Krishna is my master. Now, why is this pride considered safest? Because God is like a mother, not exactly like a mother. Actually, it's like millions of mothers. Mercy put together is God, and even it'll be more than a million of mothers. And now, why is that? Because if a child tries to touch something dangerous, the mother will immediately pull it, even if take it away from the child, even if the child cries. So that is the mercy of the mother. Like when the child wants to play with that burning coal, what is that burning coal? Or fire? It is pride or ego. When we try to want and try to increase our ego, the mother takes it away from us. So this is the what Krishna does. Is if you have a bigger pride, God takes that pride away from you. And God is also like a surgeon. So this he does only to those who are surrendered to him. Yeah. So he doesn't do that to everybody. So once who are devotees and surrendered to him, then God personally intervenes to treat your ego sense, which is like the surgeon removes the boil of worldly pride. So if somebody has got a boil, then it needs a surgical incision to take out the pus from inside to cure it. So, but giving the incision is painful, but it is really important to treat. So the treatment is to treat the ego or treat the worldly pride, and the God, the surgeon, takes that off. And Prabhupada, in his own personal life experience, he says that he experienced this special mercy of the Lord. Yasyam anugrihnyami harishyet dhanam shanai tato dhanam tyajantasya svajana dukkha dukkitam. So he experienced it personally. So when his business was flourishing, and he said that, oh, maybe I'll get to up a million, become a millionaire, and then serve, and then go and follow my spiritual master's instructions with lots of money, and then I'll be able to serve better. Then God did the special mercy on him. So he took away, his business started failing, and everything happened because he just to take away the pride, so that the devotee completely surrenders. Don't think that you are the one who is doing it. So don't think that you are the one trying to serve Krishna. Meaning it is even service to Krishna happens by the mercy of Krishna. Don't think you are the doer, and that because of your effort you are able to do it. So when the ego goes up, the God as a surgeon takes away the worldly pride. Now the second question that we were going to discuss is why do we need to do sadhana when Krishna is already near? Meaning, as we said, that Paramatma is already attained. Why do we need to sadhana, and how much sadhana is required to bridge this gap? I will take a few answers and then we'll go straight into. Anybody wants to answer? So why we need to do sadhana and how much sadhana is required to bridge the gap? I'll take one answer.
To purify ourselves.
Okay, to purify ourselves. Yeah. Okay. I won't take any more answers now, but let's go because otherwise There will not be much time. So yeah, so quantifying the effort as to how much sadhana is required. So we say 16 rounds of chanting. So, so is that enough? Is 16 rounds the magic number? But the question primarily is, why do we need to do the sadhana? The main reason is to purify, as Mataji said, is to require as much sadhana as is required to purify the mind, the mirror of the mind, from the lust on the dust of material desires. That is anartha nivritti. And the shift from effort to grace. So although our physical effort can only take us up to a certain level, it is the internal, the final bridge is the grace of the Lord. The second question was how many years or what is the quantity of sadhana that we need to do. So it is not in hours or years or number of rounds that would determine whether you attain Paramatma or Krishna or not. It is the intensity of one's nishtha or steadfastness that would determine. Now the three pillars of practice, how to bridge this gap, are: first is Shravanam Kirtanam. What does it do? In Sikshashtakam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. So it cleans the mirror of your heart, Bhavad Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, and frees you from the forest fire of material existence. And the second is Viveka. Viveka is to see the gold, that is the essence of everything that you see. The underlying essence is Lord, is Lord Krishna or Paramatma itself. So anything that you see, don't forget that underlying is Lord. And the last one, the shortcut principle, is Sharanagati, that is total surrender. Because as we said, that grace is important. So for that we need to surrender. Now, breaking the power of Maya. So how do you overcome the two powers of Maya? We said one is the Avarnatmika Shakti and second is the Prakshekatmika Shakti. So dissolving the way, the sadhana, it acts as the light and removes the darkness of forgetfulness. So this sadhana that we do, the chanting, it brings back the smriti of the Lord. And the second is the consistent practice stops the mind from getting tricked and captivated by the external illusory forms. So that's how we get rid of the Prakshepatmika Shakti. And the result is the seeker gets established in their own divine nature. So we realize that we essentially, qualitatively, are not different from Krishna at any point. And that just as the Lord Shiva had his awakening, similarly. The final realization is that when the goal is reached, the perceived distance. So as I said when we started, that there is no physical distance, but there is a perceived distance. This distance vanishes when the goal is reached, and we realize that we were always with Paramatma all along. And it's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 7.19, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, after many births, Agyanvan Mam Prapadyate, Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. After many births, this realization comes to a Jnani. Realization, remember, me telling this knowledge doesn't mean that I'm realized. Realization is the firm belief that no one can shake you. And it is in your very nature that Vasudeva Sarvamiti, everything is Vasudeva. So that sort of realization comes. And that sort of realization is the final goal. The efforts of the seeker who engages in this endeavor never goes in vain. As Bhagavad Gita, it says that when Krishna was worried that I'll make the effort, but I will not reach the goal, then what will happen to my effort? He says all this effort will never go in vain. It's never goes to zero. So don't worry about putting the effort. And we have to realize that the Lord is infinite and inexpressible, and He is the beginning and the end of everything. So to summarize this second question answer, it says sadhana is not is a qualitative process, not a quantitative process. So it is more about how it's the question about how much sadhana I need to do is a material mindset question, asking as to, is 16 rounds going to be enough, or is 18 rounds better? It's not about that. It's more about your nishtha, your faith, your steadfastness, and the faith that you have. So it is a qualitative process of removing the layers of Maya, and not a quantitative process. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says as the qualitative process is asat sanga tyag ye vaishnavacha. So basically, asat sang, dissociate from the asat. So anything, and what is asat? asat, as we said, the best definition of Maya is anything you think separate from Krishna, that for you is Maya. So how do we overcome Maya? We see everything as Krishna. So when you're using your phone, you as well, you have to realize this is the power of Krishna and how can I use it in his service? In his service, meaning in the service of yourself, which you yourself are a part of Krishna, or in the service of others. So everything, when seen with Paramatma, that is the way you get rid of asat. Asat means the illusion or the Maya. So asat sangatyag yei Vaishnavata. That is the first behavior or the characteristic of a Vaishnava. The amount of sadhana is for each person will be based on when they stop identifying with their body and start identifying with the spirit, soul, and Paramatma, whatever that amount may be for that particular person. Now, the last question is, what specific practices lead to God realization? So I'll take some answers. Anybody want to say? Is there any specific practice that would lead you to God realization?
Waking up early in the morning.
Okay, waking up early in the morning. Great. Thank you, Mataji. Anything else?
Chanting and hearing.
Chanting and hearing. Okay. Thank you.
The 9 processes, the Navada Bhakti.
Okay. Navada Bhakti. Yeah. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. Yes. Very good. Anything else?
Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu Sangha.
Guru, Shastra, Sadhu Sangha. Yeah. All wonderful points. Yes. Okay. So I'll so the practical path. So we are talking about the practical path to the divine and specific practices for God realization. So defining the goal. So moving from the Maya to the actual substance as the divine. One is that we have to, as we previously said, it is the Smriti is already within us, but we have forgotten it because of the cover of Maya. So we try to get the knowledge from the Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Shastra, Guru Vakya, and make it a living experience to never forget Krishna. As we said, it's one of the important rules in bhakti or rules in devotional service is the one and only rule, of which there are thousands of ramifications, is Smartavya Satatam Vishnur Vismartavyo no Jatachit Sarve Vidhi Nishedasur Etyoreva Kimkara. So at all times remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Those are the only one, that's the one and only rule. Other rules are just a subset of this one rule. So Smriti is what we need to develop. And a multi-dimensional approach. So the mind, the intelligence, and the heart, the emotions, everything should be simultaneously used in our practice. Okay, so Shravanam Kirtanam, so hearing and glorifying the divine. So how does it help? The Lord's stories, they develop, bhakti has got, is allegorically mentioned that it has got 2 sons. One is the Jnana, and another is Vairagya. So both are the sons of bhakti. So sometimes it is, sometimes people get in the delusion or delusions thinking that, oh, bhakti means we don't need Jnana or Vairagya. Jnana, we don't need Jnana. We try to run away from Jnana, saying bhakti doesn't need, we are not Jnanis. No, the bhakti has got 2 sons, Gyan and Vairagya. They are part and parcel of bhakti. Okay, and the chanting is the tool. Now, by chanting the Mahamantra is to align the individual consciousness with the universal Paramatma, and the result is that the practice, it acts as a cleansing agent to remove this veiling power of Maya. And also we need to develop viveka, that's discernment. So seeing the gold in the ornament, meaning seeing everybody. When you see anybody, even your enemy or your friend or your son or your wife, see that there is Krishna in them. So the important thing is, now here sometimes people make a mistake. In 5.8 in Bhagavad Gita, it says 5.18 is we Pandita Samadarshina, it says, okay? Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichaiva Shapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. So important, Samadarshina. So you see God in them, but you don't then suddenly start saying, oh, my son is Krishna, is God, he's Krishna, so I fall at his feet. No, it is Samadarshina, but not Samavartina. So your behavior will be exactly with the same relation, but in your mind, you have to remember that he is also Krishna. So that is Samadarshana. So it is a attitudinal change within your mind and not in your behavior. So you can't then tomorrow go and start falling on everybody's feet on the road, thinking, oh, he's Krishna, he's Krishna. No, you behave appropriately, but within your mind, you remember he's still Krishna. Okay, so that is Samadarshina. So seeing the goal, but the behavior has to be in the same way. Like, for example, a police with a thief, he will say this thief is Krishna, but acting as the role of a thief. So my duty or my seva to him is to punish him. So that's the way. So Samadarshina, but in your mind, you don't have the internal hatred to that person. So it's in Bhagavad Gita 6.29 says Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam Sarva Bhutani Chatmani Ikshate Sarva Yoga Yuktatma. So it is Sarva Bhutastam, saying everybody see the Paramatma who is the same. And see also that the Lord is untouched by the gunas. So the gunas, the Maya as an energy of Krishna does not bewilder Krishna. It is an external potency. It bewilders those who are away from Krishna. So it says our Atma, our soul. One of the important things to remember is, although we are bound and sometimes we have committed, everybody has committed some sinful activity in the past, and that's the reason we are in the material world. It doesn't mean that your soul has become sinful. The one thing we always do is we think, oh, Prabhuji, we have committed so many sins in the past, so how can we ever think of getting liberated? Remember this one thing which we always forget is in Bhagavad Gita 13.32, it says, Anaditva nirgunatvat paramatma emavya sharirastopi kauntena karoti na lipyate. So your paramatma or your atma is never ever tainted. So you are always pure in your real self. It is your covering which has got tainted. So don't ever consider that you are an impure soul who has come here to suffer. Your soul can never ever be tainted. It will always remain pure. It is the covering which has got tainted. Looking for the source, so look past the object of desire. And one of the examples I heard that was in either the devotees speaking or devotees speaking about the Prabhupada's experience. So lots of young devotees, young males, they were the first devotees of Prabhupada. So when he traveled by on the flight, one of the air hostess was very, very pretty, and Prabhupada immediately saw his young devotees. They were clearly looking attracted to this hostess. So immediately Prabhupada told them about this. So if she is beautiful, just imagine whoever has created Lord Krishna, how beautiful he is. So it is like Bhagavad Gita 10.4. It said, Yad Yad Vibhuti Matsatam Srimad Urjitam Eva Tatta Deva Vagachatam Mama Tejam Sambhavam. So anywhere you see beauty, imagine that this beauty is a manifestation of Krishna. So Yad Yad Vibhuti, anything glorious that you see in the material world, that is glorious only because of the power of Krishna. So that's how Prabhupada told them to see everything in line with Krishna. The ultimate practice. So here, like this is particularly important because in this particular story pastime that we saw, Lord Śiva considered Mohinī-mūrti when he saw as an object of desire and forgot that it was Lord Vishnu himself, and that's why he got deluded. But if you see anything in relation with Krishna, you cannot be deluded. But the ultimate practice, one and only practice, which finally you need to do is this one, Sharanagati, that's total surrender. So what exactly do you mean by Sharanagati? Because there's not much time, so I'm not going to take answers from you. I'll just give away the answer. So the Sharanagati means it is Ananya Bhav, means it is Ananya, means not having any other refuge. So the only refuge is Krishna. That is 7.14. It says the famous verse. It says, Daivi Hesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya Mameva Ye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. So one who surrenders to me, only they can overcome Maya. So if you think that by your own effort you can overcome Maya, then you cannot. It's only by the grace or by the surrender to Krishna that you can overcome Maya. Like the greatest yogi is Lord Śiva, and when Lord Śiva can be deluded, anybody can be deluded. And one of this Chin Mudra gesture is basically one simple pastime. I'll just say from Shiva Purana about this pastime is that the union of Hari and Hara. Hari is Lord Vishnu and Hara is Lord Shiva. Produced a son called Lord Ayyappa. If I think in Shabrimala we have an Ayyappa temple, and that is basically Lord Ayyappa. I can't go into the past time because we don't have much time. He or all the persons who practice meditation, they do a meditation pose wherein they do a chin mudra. Chin mudra is not the chin of the English word. It is called chin mudra. It is basically they have the thumb and the index finger together and the three fingers separate, and they put it while doing meditation. So basically the ego is our index finger. We're pointing at somebody else. The index finger bends to the Paramatma, which is the thumb. So the ego is bent. So that is the symbolism. And the three fingers are the three gunas. So the ego or the self moves away from the three gunas and touches and bows down to the Paramatma. So that is a symbolic act. So Sharanagati is the main thing. And also to recognize that we can't do that by our own effort. It is Krishna himself would reveal us. So basically, God cannot be attained by our own effort. In Katha Upanishad, it says that Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhyana Medyana Bahuna Shrutena Yame Vaishavrunite Tena Labhya Taseshatma Vivrunite Tanusam. So Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhya. So this Paramatma cannot be obtained by our own effort, not by reading hundreds of scriptures, and not by listening to multiple lectures. You can't attain it. The God is only attained by to whom God himself chooses. That means God's grace falls on them. Now the question then comes: is God's grace costless, or is there something we need to do to obtain God's grace? I'll take one answer for this. Anybody who wants to answer: is God's grace costless, or do we have to do something to obtain God's grace?
Endeavor.
Anybody?
Endeavor.
We need to do something. Okay, so God's not costless mercy. Okay, anybody else? No, so only two options are there. So okay, you say that God doesn't give costless mercy. He does it with some effort. What is that effort, Mataji, then? What effort does he look?
Surrender everything to him.
Sorry?
Surrender everything to him.
Showing him love, really. Loving
Show
Krishna.
him love. Okay. Show him love, prem.
Like you would love a baby.
Or surrender. Okay. And excellent. So because the love includes surrender, and surrender also comes. So basically, you both are right. So Lord's mercy is not based on your effort. It is costless. It's absolutely true. It is costless. That is what's saying, costless mercy. That's what we always use. It's costless, but your answers are also correct. We need love and surrender. So how can both be correct? That's the umbrella analogy. So basically, God's grace is falling everywhere. We are the one who put our ego up and not let the grace fall shower on us. So we have to, by surrendering, we are taking away that ego. So God's mercy is costless. So it is not restricted to just some people. It is covered equally on both the devotees and the non-devotees. But the non-devotees have that big ego, and so it feels like God is not merciful to them. But the mercy is everywhere. It is just like our ego, our pride, our attachment, by which we don't encounter the grace of the Lord. And what is the process of Sharanagati? Just very quickly, last couple of slides, we have discussed this in a previous talk, but I think this, because it's important, we can just quickly go through it. So there is a big definition for the Sharanagati. It says, Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam rakshishyati iti vishwasya goptrutre varnam tata atmanikshepa karpinye shadvida Sharanagati. So the 6 processes of Sharanagati is given, but Mirabai, the great devotee in the 16th century, she does it very simply. She says, Mere to Giridhar Gopal, dusro na koi. So this is a very easy way to understand. Gopal or Krishna is mine, and I have nobody else. That's a simple thing. That is what is Sharanagati. And Mirabai also says, Sanso ki mala mein simru mein pi ka naam, apne man ki मैं जानू और पी के मन की राम. So basically this is again very important. So these two things will help you understand better rather than by hearting a definition. So in the rosaries of my breath, so instead of chanting on a bead, she says my breath is my counter. With every breath, I remember Krishna. And I know only my heart's desire. My heart's desire is I love Krishna unconditionally. That is how Mirabai loves Krishna. I love my Krishna unconditionally. And I know my heart's desire, but I don't know about Krishna, whether Krishna loves me or not. And that doesn't bother me, whether Krishna loves me or not. I only know. So it's an unconditional love. So you don't think that, okay, I've loved Krishna so much, now he has to love me equally. No, she's not. She had faced so many difficulties in her life. That's why I always bring Mirabai up. Like so many difficulties. She was a princess. She could have lived a happy life, easy life materially, but she gave up everything, faced so many difficulties. Why? Because her love for Krishna was so acute, so great, that all this material distress felt nothing to her. And this is exactly the verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in Shikshashtakam as well. Ashlishya va padratam pinishtumam adarshnan barmahatam karotu va yatha tata vidadatu lampato mat prananastastu sa eva napara. So whether you don't reciprocate to me, whether you even kick me, and whether in front of me you love somebody else, even then I still love you. So that's the unconditional sort of love that we need to show. That is surrender. And the easy way to surrender is always saying back to yourself, I'm yours and you are mine. So Krishna, I'm yours. This is actually the only true statement, because I am is the ego, is yours. That ego is not mine, it is Krishna's. Everything material also belongs to Krishna. I am yours and you are mine. So there is nobody else in this world who you can truly call as mine. I can't call my son, my wife, and my husband materially as mine, because they are just temporary. They are here for this lifetime, and they won't be again with me in the next lifetime. The one person who will always be with you is Krishna or Paramatma, and he's mine. So that is the truth statement. It is not like we are making up something. I am yours and you are mine. So the way to utilize this in our practice is repeat this mentally while chanting till your mind is completely absorbed in the chanting. So when you chant, and you can initially, when your mind is not completely absorbed in the chanting, repeat this to yourself, and then later when the chanting goes on, it's fine. But the reason why that helps is because Lord Krishna is so merciful, so merciful, that even if a fake surrender you do, by even not feeling in the heart, I don't feel that I'm yours and I don't feel that you are mine, but still I will say. So even that he considers as a positive thing. So even if you do it fakely, like it's like in Bhakti, it said, fake till you make it. And it's absolutely true, because Krishna showed this in the pastime with Putana. So Putana wasn't having a motherly feeling when she was feeding Krishna the breast milk. But even then, he took that part, the positive part. He sees the positive in any act that you do. So that is why we find surrender so difficult. So just take your surrender till you really are able to surrender. So repeat this, I'm yours and you are mine, till it becomes a part and parcel of your life. And the 10th aparada in chanting is that the feeling that I am chanting. So the fact that you say it to others, oh, Prabhuji, I chanted 16 rounds today or 14 rounds, that is actually an aparada you're committing. So you're basically doing only punya karma rather than getting the devotional benefit, because you feel that you are chanting. The fact that is the ego. I am chanting. So that's chanting. The real chanting happens when the chanting really happens, not when you have the feeling that I am chanting. I chanted this much today. So the real chanting is when you forget that you are the chanter and Krishna is somebody else. So it is like Tvadiyam Vastu Govinda Tubhyam Eva Samarpai. So whatever is yours, I offer it back to you. So there's nothing that we can give Krishna except what he has already given to us. And bhakti is the purest process, because it is both the sadhana and the sadhya. So bhakti is both the process and the end. Yeah, thank you. So I'll actually stop there and we'll take some questions. I think that's where I was going to summarize, but I think this should be enough. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful interactive class, and thank you to all the devotees for their engagement as well, and also from quoting from the Ramcharitmanas, which we hardly hear from. So thank you for that. If anyone has any questions, we've already got some. So if I can go to iPad, if that's okay. First, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, I didn't change my name. Sorry. It's Janukanya. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for an amazing class. It really stirred up a lot of questions for me. I'm just thinking about this ego thing and this knot that we carry around. Can surrender be effortless? And if it and can it be also present in this moment, this present moment?
Yes, yes,
And
Mataji.
can we find freedom in that surrender at all?
Yes, Mataji. So basically, surrender is the actual realization that whatever you are surrendering is actually not yours. So basically, what are you surrendering? Is there anything in this world that is yours, that is truly yours, that you can surrender? No. The only true and true thing that you have is Krishna. Everything else that you have is temporary, is Maya. So one and only true. That is why I said surrender is I am yours and you are mine. So the only thing that is mine is Krishna. Nothing else in this world actually truly belongs to you. Your body doesn't belong to you. Your ego doesn't belong to you. So the fact that, so that is why it's said that in the higher levels of bhakti, what happens, why chanting is important, is that gradually the ego dissolves. And how does it dissolve? So the feeling that happens is Prem Gali Ati Sankri. So it is love. Prem is the highest level. And Prem Gali Ati Sankri Tame Do Na Samay. Jab main tha tab hari nahi. Ab hari hai, main nahi. So this is a very, very important the quote that goes in Vrindavan. It says, Prem Gali, the path of love is very, very narrow. Only one person can pass through it. When I was there, you Hari, Krishna, you were not there. But when Krishna was there, I couldn't find myself. So that is what the ego disappears when you attain Krishna. So that is why anybody who says that I have seen Krishna, he has truly not seen Krishna, because the ego is gone. So it is like you realize, as it said in Bhagavad Gita 7.19, Bhunam Jarmanante Gyanvanam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudarlabha. Everything is Vasudeva. Where am I? The I is gone. So surrender is the absolute knowledge and the absolute realization, the firm faith that everything is Krishna. So you're truly not surrendering anything. You're only surrendering that which you have considered as yourself, but was not truly yours. So that is the true surrender. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. And the thing is, if you surrender, if you choose to be, in a way, sort of try to do the best, you end up in a lonely place. It's kind of a shameful place, in a way that you're not responding to you see what I mean?
Yeah, Mataji. Yeah, thank you very much, Mataji. This is really important. That's why Krishna also in the Bhagavad Gita emphasizes this. So what Arjuna thought that surrender and all the other things means that we run away, go to sannyas. No, it is like seeing Krishna everywhere. So basically, that he basically said in Bhagavad Gita 5.3, he said sannyasa karma yogascha nishres karao tayostu karma sannyasa karma yoga vishishyate. So he said karma yoga is much superior than even sannyas. He is the one person who has absolutely said it clearly, because till that time, till Bhagavad Gita was spoken, it used to be that the real big yogis were always going to the sannyas. So he said, no, you live your entire life, but when you have Krishna in your mind all the time, that is the true surrender, rather than becoming lonely. So you interact with everybody, interact with your friends, and rather go there. But every time, don't forget Krishna. See Krishna in everybody. So Miss, I can tell you about my personal thing. Is that this was before I even did Krishna consciousness. Is that when I was in the medical college at that time, we maybe had professors and teachers who were very strict, and in India there was more of a hierarchy. So like we were very scared going before the teachers, and so before so for public speaking or for the exams, we used to get very stressed. So I used to practice this sort of thing, where I would think, because I used to read lots of Vivekananda literature at that time. So he does exactly the same thing, philosophy, but it was more of an impersonal view. But the philosophy, underlying philosophy, is the same. So he said, God, everybody is God. which is a true statement. It's not a wrong statement. So I used to consider I am God, he is God. So I used to mentally think that I'm bowing down to this professor and I'm equal to this professor. So it used to take away the fear. So in public speaking, one of the things that they teach, the materialists teach is think that you are superior to the others. So instead of that, use the spiritual, that I'm equal, he is also equal. Nobody is superior to you, nobody is inferior to you. So this is the spiritual way of thinking in your philosophy, in your real bhakti or spiritually. So you don't need to isolate yourself and become lonely. So interact with everybody, but know the underlying truth. So it is samadarshina. So underlying truth you should know in your heart that yes, everybody is Krishna, but when you behave separately as appropriate. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Drop the I, me, and mine. Yes.
Yes, drop the I, me, mine. So Maya definition as given easily by Tulsidas is me or more, I and mine, you and yours. So considering that is yours, so that is Maya. So when you say I and mine, instead of that say this and that, everything is Krishna's. So that should be the underlying.
Thank you, Hari Bol. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Saroj Mataji, I saw that you did have your hand up first of all. Did you want to ask a question? Saroj Mataji?
Hare Krishna, no, fine, yeah. My question got answered by somebody else.
Okay, thank you very much, Mataji. So Devi Mataji, would you like to ask your question, please? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for tonight. For me, I have the kind of scene in situation that everything is, whatever happened, everything is under the Supreme Lord Krishna's control. Regardless to what I do or not do, what I believe or not believe, everything is under his control. At the same time, I learned about him that he never lose, never. He always win. So as a Maya, the energy side of him also is not, so he says it himself that it's not easy to win over Maya.
Yeah.
So he says it himself. So how is the possibility for me? Nothing. I'm nothing. How can I win over that? How can I have, because he says that also, I'm the supreme controller, I'm the supreme doer, I'm the supreme this, I'm supreme that, and I am the one who's giving the forgiveness, forgetfulness, and so on and so on. So I mean, how do I see the situation that is not him who decide when it's time for me to get it, regardless to what I do, practice, not practice. When it's not time, it will not happen. When he doesn't see the time is right, it will not happen.
Yeah.
Am I wrong to thinking that way? Thank you.
No, Mataji. No, very, very good question. And that's exactly the thing that we discussed towards the end. So as you rightly said, Mataji, so that's exactly what in 7.14 he says, Daivi Hesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratya Mameva Ye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite, which means this Maya is the divine potency of mind. Only by surrendering to me, you can overcome it. So you have to still surrender to Krishna. And we just discussed what surrender is. And we discussed about Krishna's kripa. So basically, Mataji said that only when Krishna decides can we really go. So you are asking when Krishna decides, when is that time? The thing is, the real fact of the matter is Krishna is deciding at every second that you should be liberated. Every moment he's trying his best to make you liberated. It is you, and I'm saying not literally you, I'm just saying it's we who have held on to Maya. One thing we have to remember, and the greatest secret which is never revealed openly, and which is revealed by many devotees, but only very few people grasp it, is the secret that the Maya can never ever bind you. Maya can never ever bind you. So this, you might think, oh, what are you talking? What rubbish are you talking, Prabhuji? So this it's not rubbish. It's Maya is insentient. Soul is sentient. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives this analogy, and this is the beautiful analogy. So basically, he says he sees one person going and hugging a tree. Okay, so he hugs a tree and hugs it very tightly. The king is walking, and then he says to the king, "Oh king, please come and protect me. Please, please, this tree has tied me." So basically, he says this Maya has caught me, but actually the person who has caught Maya is we. Maya cannot catch you. It is we who have caught Maya by saying, "This is mine, this is I." So I and mine is not the Maya saying that I and mine. The Maya is ever running away from us, but we have held on to it. And God says, just let go and you will always be free. But we can't let go. I can't let go the feeling that I'm a professional, I'm a doctor, I'm this, I'm a man, I'm a husband, I'm a father. I'm not able to let go. And we blame it on Krishna. We blame it on Krishna, saying that Krishna, your Maya is so difficult to go. Maya has caught me. Maya has not caught you. You have caught Maya. That is the secret. And this secret is not openly said. But this is the real secret of somebody who understands properly. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur tells in his Jaiva Dharma book, the Magnus Opus book that he has written, that Maya cannot. So get this illusion out of your mind, that Maya cannot, C-A-N-N-O-T, cannot bind you. It is we who have caught on to Maya. So I am the person who am not able to give up my wife, my husband, my attachment to my body, I don't want to get old. I don't want to go at this. Maya cannot, C-A-N-N-O-T, cannot bind you. We blame it on Maya. Actually, we have caught on to Maya. And Krishna says, just give up this Maya and you are free. That is the secret, Mataji. So we have to change our perspective. And that is the secret. And if we ever consider that Krishna has intentionally giving us suffering, no. The only reason you suffer is because you see something as different, as separate from Krishna. So when I'm talking to you on this laptop, you think, oh, this has got no relation to Krishna or anything that you enjoy. So like Śiva, he went into illusion because he forgot Krishna for that few seconds or few minutes. Otherwise, he's a Nitya yogi. He always remembers that this lady is for my attachment, for my enjoyment. That sort of feeling is what is Maya. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Jay Mataji, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you firstly for the wonderful class. My question was, I didn't understand something. You mentioned that the soul does not get contaminated. Is that correct? And it's the layers which get contaminated. So even after births and births of conditioning, the soul does not get contaminated. So which layers are we talking about? Is it the layers of the gross elements, or what are we talking about? Which layers, please?
Yes, Mataji, because we are parts and parcel of Krishna, our soul. Just like Krishna cannot be contaminated, we, in the true sense, can never. This again is something that you have to keep it firmly in your mind, no matter, because some people who give talks and they make this mistake, they say Jivatma is bound. Now that is correct, and that is wrong as well. The correct thing is Jivatma. When we call something soul as Jivatma, there's a subtle difference. Jivatma means the soul which identifies itself with body and other things. That is called Jivatma. So that's a technical term. And the Atma, or the soul, just the soul per se, is ever pure. And the evidence is given in Bhagavad Gita several times. Is said that so the one that I quoted was in 13.32. Anaditva nirgunatva. So the soul per se doesn't have any guna. Anaditva nirgunatva paramatma imavya sharirastopi kaunteya na karoti na lipete. It neither does anything as well. So the doership comes after the ego comes. So as we said, Jad Chetan. So our soul is the Chetan, that's the conscious element, and the Jad. So everything else which is not the soul is Jad. Jad means insentient. Insentient means which we can call Maya. Okay. So those two have bound together, and that bondage is what we call as ego. So this ego is itself a material thing. Okay. So in fact, so that is why Krishna says, even if the most sinful of person comes to me and surrenders to me, apichetsu duracharo bhajate mam ananyabhak sadhurevasam, I consider him a sadhu. And Shipram bhavati dharmatma, he will become a sadhu very quickly. Shipram bhavati dharmatma saraswat shantim nigachiti kaunteya pratijanihi na me bhakta pranashyati. My devotee can never fail. They will always succeed. Because the soul per se cannot be contaminated. If the soul were contaminated, then there is no point. Means if the soul were contaminated, this meaning the soul cannot be contaminated, because what can contaminate the soul? How can an insentient just contaminate sentient? It cannot contaminate. The soul can never be contaminated, and it's clearly said in Bhagavad Gita 13.32 that the soul, as also we see, soul cannot do anything. So the contamination happens because you do something wrong, you get the result of your work. It is not the soul that gets the result of its work. It is the soul identified with the misidentification is the problem that happens. So the soul, even while doing so, in Bhagavad Gita, what is that? 5.8 and 5.9, it says, Naiva kinchit karomiti yukta manyeta tattvavet pashan shruvans prushan grinnan ashnan gachan swapan shwasan. So it doesn't even do. So it's the ego which considers that I'm the doer. And this itself is a very big topic, so I didn't want to touch on it. That who exactly is the real doer, that is what is a very big topic. But the soul per se, we must all be absolutely clear, the soul per se is ever pure, will never be contaminated, because it's part and parcel of Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, so Devi Mataji, you've got another question?
Yes, please. Thank you. I'm so confused. You say the soul is never been contaminated and so on. Who is this body that experience the karma of the different karma, bad and good? It doesn't matter. Just what is the karma to experience the karma? Is it the soul or is it this shell? Because I mean, without the soul, this shell will not function, right? It's like motor. It's like energy. Yeah. So that is that is, and if the soul is pure, how can a soul do act in some way that is so horrifying that it should pay the karma? You know what I mean? So for me,
yes, Mataji, absolutely. So that is why this is not clearly understood. And one thing you have to remember, Mataji, is that's only up to a certain extent that you can understand the spiritual layer, and which is because our mind can only think from the material perspective. Our mind, being material itself, cannot understand what spirit actually means. So to a certain level, and that is why the easiest explanation, clearest explanation has been made by realized saints. Only the realized saints can give that sort of explanation. So Tulsidas is one of the realized saints. He says Jad Chetan. So you said that how can somebody do such bad things? So basically, it is like the Vedic statement is Vigyatara Mare Kena Vijaniya, meaning how can, so the mind. So let's start with mind. So it is the mind is the reason for both the bondage and liberation. Okay, so we all understand this very simple thing, because it's the mind which causes bondage and it's the mind which causes liberation. If the mind is pure, you get liberated. If the mind is bad, you get bound. Okay, so that is very easy to understand. But there is another Vedic statement which says that Vigyatara Mare Kena Vijaniya. So the soul is the reason because of which the mind works, but the mind itself cannot think about the soul. Okay, I'll repeat that again. It is the power because of which the mind works. Okay, the mind being insentient, I mean it is dead matter. Okay, mind per se is dead matter. It's only because of the soul, the reflected consciousness, that the mind works. So the power with which the mind works, the reason because of which the mind thinks, it cannot think about the soul. So it cannot know itself. Okay, so to answer your question as to who exactly is the person who is the doer, as I said, it's a big topic. But when these two come together, the inert and the sentient come together, there is some sort of connection, and that connection is called ego. Now, if you try to point out where is the ego, Prabhuji, I can't see it physically. You can't see it physically, but there is that connection. So that is why Tulsidas says, Lord Chetan, this knot has formed. But he immediately says this knot is illusory. So this is not a firm knot that you cannot detach, that you cannot get liberated. It is an illusory knot. Illusory means a temporary knot which has happened, and it is the misidentification which causes this temporary knot, where the soul misidentifies itself with this. And once it's misidentified, then you make hundreds of knots. So that first misidentification. So everything starts with avidya. So the ignorance, the basic ignorance. And this theoretical knowledge itself will not get rid of that ignorance. Now, just listening to this doesn't get rid of this ignorance. It is so deep rooted that it cannot get rid of. And that's why we need to do this chanting and other purification process. But it is the illusory thing. So it is not a real bondage which has happened. It is this illusory bondage which has caused us to get bound. And once this ego bondage happens, then second, you consider your mind to be yours. You may consider your mind to be yours. Then you start thinking, oh, this is me, that's that, and you start doing all the horrible things. So the soul itself hasn't done. It is the analogy given is that without the sun, there'll be no plants, no oxygen, nothing in this world. Nothing works. But then one person uses that sunlight to study the Bhagavad Gita. Other person uses the same sunlight to go and murder somebody. You can't blame the sun for that. So it is the same thing. You can't blame the soul for one mind doing devotional practice and another mind going and murdering somebody. So the mind has become contaminated, but the sun is not the reason. So that is why soul is said to be uncontaminated, is absolutely pure. Because of the soul, everything else works. So it is like the electricity is the one which gives cold and heat. So the electricity is the same. The underlying power which comes from the soul is the same. But one use heat, one use cold. One kills you. So it's not the electricity to be blamed. Similarly, the soul is ever pure. So this is the analogy. You can't understand spirit completely. We can't understand. Not you. We can't understand because our brain, it's material. And it's said clearly in Mahabharata. No matter how much discussion and argument we have, we can't understand spirit because the mind works with the power of the spirit, but it cannot itself think about the mind. If we were able to think Krishna's spiritual form, we cannot think because the mind is material. A material thing can't think about the spirit. So that is the thing. So we have to remember, we have to accept this, and that's why you need guru, because you can't accept from me because I'm an ordinary materialistic person. Why would you believe me? So that is why you have to go to Shastra. Anything that I say, if it's not validated in Shastra, don't believe it. Similarly, 99% of the gurus are always fake. So don't accept anybody as guru. So somebody self-realized. So accept it from them. So that's why we believe in the self-realized persons who have written these books and who have made it easy or who are self-realized and explain this concept. And that is why it's important. So don't blame the sun. You can't blame the sun for somebody murdering. So that's how the same analogy goes. It's an analogy we can explain. You can't exactly relate it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much for those wonderful questions, and thank you, Prabhuji. If we can all kindly unmute and say our three Hari Bols. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
If I can quickly ask, Prabhuji, would you be able to say the final prayers? And if I can ask everyone to stay on mute, I'll just share them with you. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Anant Koti Vrinda Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you everyone.